Hi guys, this is George back here with another video and welcome to another news update. It's been a while since I've filmed a news update like this, and today we are talking about some of the biggest theme park news we have seen in a very long time. And this is the announcement of the Six Flags and Cedar Fair merger. Of course, we first heard of this a few months ago and it was all a bit up in the air. Nobody really knew what was going on. However, as of the 1st of July, that merger was complete. The Six Flags and Cedar Fair companies have merged into one big company owning 42 different parks across North America, of course Canada, USA and Mexico. 42 parks, and this company is now known as Six Flags Entertainment Corporation. So no more Cedar Fair. Cedar Fair name is gone, and this is all now one big company operating under the name of Six Flags. So today I'm going to talk all about this merger, what this could mean for the parks and what we could see in the future. So starting off, I want to talk about the new logo for Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, which I actually really like this new logo. As much as I'm not a particularly big fan of this merger going ahead, I do really like this logo. Of course, there's kind of similarities and differences with merging the two companies together. So you've got the Six Flags name, which of course is from Six Flags, but you've got it in the kind of Cedar Fair font that they use or used to use with the logos of their parks. So you can see it coming up on the screen now. You've got it all in blue. You've got the dot for the eye as a flag with Six Flags all in blue. It looks absolutely fantastic. I do really like that. And you can also see coming up on the screen now a map of all of their different properties as well. As I said earlier, 42 parks, that includes theme parks and water parks. So yeah, not just theme parks. This is a big company now. 42 theme parks is going to be a lot of investment, a lot of upkeep. However, hopefully it will work out. So I want to talk a bit about investment now. So of course, owning a lot more properties, this could potentially mean investment in the parks is going to fall. No longer are we seeing two different companies operating two different chains of parks. This is now one big company, and of course they need to choose every year which parks are going to get the investment. Of course, there are some of the favourite parks, the big parks in both chains, such as with Six Flags, Great Adventure, Magic Mountain, and then going to Cedar Fair, you've got Cedar Point, Knott's Berry Farm, Carowinds. They're some of the big parks in that chain. Whereas now, a lot more parks is going to mean a lot more investment to bring the parks up to the standard that they need to be at, maintenance of the rides, making sure the park's clean, and this could affect new rides and attractions, or you'd think so anyway. However, according to a kind of press statement that has been released, we have got some information on it, and it has been said on there: our enhanced financial flexibility will enable us to invest in new rides, attractions, food and beverage options, and state-of-the-art consumer technologies. So therefore, that is a very good sign. Of course, whether this is actually going to go ahead or not, we don't know. We don't know what the future holds. At the moment, of course, the economy over in the USA has been having some problems. So who knows what is going to happen. Of course, we're only a few years out of COVID. That had a big impact on all of the parks. So rather than competing against each other, it's like, right, let's work together now. We're going to help each other rather than we're going to compete against each other, keep spending money to try and bring our parks up to the top spot. It's going to be a bit different now. However, does that mean we're going to see less investment into each park? Who knows? Of course, it depends on manufacturers as well. Six Flags and Cedar Fair were typically quite different with investment. Cedar Fair were often willing to fork over more money and get something of a higher standard. They were willing to work with manufacturers such as B&M, not so much Intamin. They didn't have a great relationship with Intamin. RMC as well, that's another one they didn't have a great relationship with. Likewise with Six Flags, they didn't have a great relationship with Gerstlauer. However, they tended to go with cheaper investments and invest more often in the parks. Of course, for a while they had their thing going where they added something new to every park every year, so that would mean kind of cheaper investments going into the parks. It felt a bit more like quantity over quality, whereas with Cedar Fair it's always been more of a quality over quantity thing. So How is that going to work with this new company? Are we going to start seeing them working with different manufacturers again now that Cedar Fair has an influence on this? Are we going to start seeing them working with Gerstlauer? Of course, they had a good relationship with Gerstlauer, Six Flags didn't, and Cedar Fair didn't have a good relationship with RMC and Intamin. However, Six Flags did tend to have a good relationship with RMC, but they tended not to go with Intamin as much as they're a more expensive manufacturer. So yeah, you can see the pattern of what's going on here. How is this going to affect investment? What are we going to see in these parks now? Of course, for this year, we've got the Flash Vertical Velocity opening at Six Flags Great Adventure. That's a Vekoma coaster. We've got an Intamin Ultra Surf going to Six Flags over Georgia. Six Flags have started to fork over a bit more money recently. Of course, a couple years ago, they opened a B&M dive coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. So I think this could be the start of good things to come. However, I do worry that in the near future, this could have some problems for the park. Of course, giving a park a new ride, you're going to put a big new ride in this park, a big new ride in this park, and a big new ride in this park. How is that going to affect what's going on at the other parks? Are we going to see some parks become not as profitable anymore? Of course, a lot more parks means a lot more costs for this company. It's going to be expensive to maintain all of these parks and keep them up to the standard. Of course, there's no competition as well now. Well, there is competition, but not as much. Of course, Six Flags and Cedar Fair, they had a similar kind of market share before. So it's always like Six Flags will be, right, we need to compete with Cedar Fair, and often there are Cedar Fair parks quite close to Six Flags parks. It's like over in California, you've got Six Flags Discovery Kingdom and California's Great America not too far away from each other. Over in Los Angeles, you've got Six Flags Magic Mountain and Knott's Berry Farm only an hour away from each other. So it did drive competition for these parks, but now they're all working together. There's not as big of an influence on competition. So it's not as if you've got that attitude anymore of, oh, if we do something wrong, customers are going to go to a competitor. Let's say Six Flags did something wrong, and it's like, right, well, we're going to go to a Cedar Fair park instead. You're not really going to have that as much anymore. So they're going to be able to kind of get away with stuff a lot more, which could affect the customer experience, which is what I'm really worried about with this merger. I thought this right from the beginning, right from when this was announced, and I'll continue to think that. However, hopefully we will see some good investment. Hopefully we will see things go well for the parks and the company, and I do hope to be proven wrong with this. However, yeah, I am a bit worried about it. And now I'm going to go into more of my thoughts of this merger. Okay then, so as someone who did business studies at GCSE and also A-levels and also planning on going off to university to do a degree in business management, I do like to think that I have a pretty good understanding of how mergers work and how this could affect this company. I have a lot of experience with theme parks. I like theme parks. I have a huge passion for them. I understand how they work, and I also understand the world of business. So hopefully I'm in a pretty good position to be able to talk about this. Of course, I've already talked about limiting competition and how that could affect the customer experience and how that could affect the attitudes of the people on the top of the hierarchy in this new company. Of course, you've got the CEO of Cedar Fair, who is now the CEO of this entire company, and the CEO of Six Flags is chairman of this new company. So yeah, it's one of those really. So Cedar Fair, of course, I was talking about them being the kind of more quality over quantity approach before. Hopefully, with the CEO of that company in charge of this big company, hopefully that's the kind of attitude we are going to see with these new parks. Because, of course, if there is less competition, then there's less kind of options for parks to go to, for people to go to. But if you're investing heavily in these parks, it could make people think, right, well, we're going to go to these parks, we're going to give it a chance, and then they go and have a good experience there. And then hopefully that's going to keep increasing market share, keep increasing profitability, and hopefully that's going to be able to generate the revenue that they need to be able to keep all of these parks going. It will be very sad to see some parks close. Of course, there are typically parks that don't get very much investment within both companies. You think of parks like Six Flags America and Great Escape. I mean, Great Escape is getting a new investment for this year, but it's been a long time coming. And then likewise with Cedar Fair, Worlds of Fun, that's only just recently got a new coaster. I believe it was 14 years they were waiting for that new coaster. Dorney Park has got a new coaster for this year. That's their first new coaster for a long time. And then you've got other parks like Michigan's Adventure, Valley Fair, that haven't had any investment for a long time completely. So Are we still going to see a similar approach like that? Are we going to see every park getting investment every once in a while? It's one of those where the company's going to have to choose each year which parks are going to get investment and which parks are going to have to wait a bit longer. But it is good to see with both of these companies that they do seem to be paying more attention to their smaller parks, and hopefully that is going to be the mindset of this new company, and we're going to see some of the smaller parks before starting to get new investment before we see some of the big parks getting investment now. As much as I love the big parks and with loads of rides, parks like Cedar Point, Six Flags Great Adventure, Six Flags Magic Mountain, they don't need any new rides. Spend the money on the smaller parks that really need it to keep boosting them up, getting more people in there, getting more people to go and visit, generating more revenue. So there we go. Hopefully that is what we're going to be seeing, and it seems like we could be seeing that. However, of course, with competition as well, lack of competition, I should say. What is that going to mean for the mindset of this company? Are we going to see a kind of quantity over quality approach again? Are we going to kind of see a bit of a lazy attitude where it's like, oh, well, customers haven't got other options, so if we screw up, whatever? Hopefully we're not going to start seeing that approach. That is a worry for me. However, we'll just have to wait and see with that. But overall, I have been worried about this merger right from the start. I'm still worried about it now. I was hoping it wasn't going to happen, however it has happened from the 1st of July. That was when the merger was completed, and we are now seeing all of these parks under one company. But I am very interested to see what is going to happen in the future and what kind of investment we are going to see. So then guys, that is now the end of this video here. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at George Kelly and follow me on Twitter at George Kelly. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe everyone, and I will see you all later. Bye!